we can start talking about legends. I think that's why we're here. But first, I want to ask Thobbe. Obviously, he's the new old guy in the band. Thobbe, how was that phone call last year, to join or to be back in Sabaton? How was that?
It was amazing. Actually, Joakim came by because, he was in I was, not expecting that question really that, straightforward. He just came by and we had some coffee and he was like, so by the way, how about bringing back those camel bands again? I was like, oh yeah, why not? No, it's been, what is it now, more than 1.5 years since that, and it's like, time flies, it feels like yesterday, and we have so much fun, it's so wonderful to be back again.
Yeah, and when did the songwriting process start? Probably Pär start with you. When did the songwriting for this album started?
Well, it's also, and I think it's a more relevant question almost for Thobbe because he was writing songs before he was back in the band.
Yeah, so, as fun as it is, for example, like me at the Gates, me and Joakim started on that song maybe, I don't know, 2022 or something, and so it was just about done, in November, and then in January he asked me if I would like to rejoin, so there you go.
Which was super, of course. But yeah, the songwriting process takes sometimes a longer period of slow, non-intensive songwriting. And then just before we enter the studio, it's getting very intense to fix everything and do the final fixes. Also, usually during this period of time that a lot of songs are actually being born last minute and coming up. Joakim is our main songwriter, and sometimes he has no inspiration because there's maybe just made an album or too many other things going on, and then but every now and then there's a little bit of songwriting and
It's always something happening beneath the surface.
And with this record, speaking of songwriting, everybody for the first time, contributed. So that kind of helps if, like, Joakim is the main songwriter, but helps when, someone else steps up and has an idea. So it's important, especially in a band environment, that everybody can contribute with their ideas. Even if they're shitty, sometimes you can turn shitty ideas into good ones. Or not.
I think that why, this time all 5 of us was, it was because it was good ideas. Everything is, of course it has to be great ideas, otherwise you can't, polish a turd, so to speak. So, all the ideas were great, and it turned out to be great songs and a great album.
And
Joakim usually, once he starts putting his signature ideas and these kind of things that goes on in his head, it starts to sound like Sabaton, no matter where the origin was. No matter how the song starts, once he gets in there, it starts to sound like Sabaton, and that's the great thing. And also, I think we have a high level of quality, and we wouldn't put out bad stuff that we're not satisfied with, of course. And a lot of that comes, of course, from Joakim, who has this this one needs to be tweaked, and if a song isn't ready or isn't good enough, then we put it aside and maybe finish it some other day. So there is no set procedure how to write an album. It's more or less it happens the way it happens, and for good it was that everybody was involved in Legends, that we now also can feel that we're going out strong. Thobbe is back. We're going out with a strong album.
Yeah, and the concept of Legends. You guys left World War One, behind you, and on this new era, let's say, of Sabaton, you chose Legends. Was that a planned thing, or was just the ideas that you guys had that kind of led to the legends concept, so to say, and write songs about legendary Napoleon, Julius Caesar? How did that came about?
I think it all starts with the Templars, well, working on the music. So the only thing we knew was that it's not going to be a new album about First World War. And the song Templars, the music for it, it doesn't sound like World War I at all. It doesn't sound like World War II. It sounds like something more ancient and epic. And that had to be sort of the leading star into the new album. Like, all right, this is the sound of the new album. And we quite quickly felt that it was a song about Templars. And when we had decided that it's going to be about Templars, pretty much then it's something that it aligns with what else can we do if we have this. And then, yeah, we kind of quickly come up with the idea of Legends. The title, it sounded good, it looked good, it felt good, and it also opens the entire world to us, because it's not such a niche like World War I. We have 4 years in history to look at, and mainly European scene. But with Legends, we didn't set a time, but it ended up with like 3,500 years of history and an entire Earth to spin around. So there was no shortage of topics and ideas for it, and it made the songwriting very easy, because we did not felt that we were bound to things. Everything could be used, like every type of song could fit there, no matter how it sounded.
Yeah, and how do you guys end up? Obviously, there is a lot of historic figures to speak about and to write about. So how do you guys came up with some are more well known than others? There is a couple that I was reading about that I had no idea existed. Obviously, if you go to China or Japan, unless you're very aware of the culture and the history, you might know of heard of someone. But for most of the people, probably there's kind of new characters there. So how did you guys did research for those stories?
A little bit of them came in like unexpected, but thanks to the music. So let's take the Chinese one, the Tiger Among Dragons of the Blue. When the song was there, the sound of it sounded like war drums, it sounded like China, it sounded, that was the ideas it gave immediately. And then we look naturally in China for a story that would fit that. And so very often the music takes us to where we will find the lyrics. Some of them are a little bit easier to adapt than others. But usually, almost everything starts with the music, and then we see where it takes us. When we are looking into this topic, there is a lot of characters that will fit in. So, no shortage of ideas, rather what fits with what. And some of them are tricky to fit in, and some are easier, and some legendary figures, they fit into a lot of variations of songs. I can take, for example, Julius Caesar as a good example, because it depends on where we picture him. Do we picture him taking the throne as the eternal dictator? Do we picture him as a story of him as an upcoming consul? Do we picture him of the warrior in leading the armies of Rome? Or do we have a slow or let's say a depressive song, and it's his the killing of him? So there's all these like variations we can fit to him, but not everybody is so versatile and fitting.
Yeah, and Thobbe, when you write the music, you start with a riff, with a melody. How does that process starts with you?
It depends. Of course, as a guitar player, it's very easy to fall into the pattern, of playing the way you play. And, well, sometimes, of course, you can come up with a great idea that way, but usually I try to think outside of the box, because melody-based, more epic-sounding theme, you know. And then it's a good idea to just, you know, sometimes I can hear a melody and I don't know where it comes from, and I immediately record it, you know, and then I figure out how to play it on the guitar. So that's one example of how something just comes out, for example, yeah.
Yeah. And so, you know, with Sabaton, it's music first and then lyrics.
Yeah, yeah. So it's kind of like what feel and what mood is the song, you know, for example, The Impaler, that's a very dark sounding riff and a dark song, you know, it's perfect to build the history around the Blood Tablets, for example.
Yeah. And, you know, Pär, with Legends, you open like a Pandora box, so to say. And there is, when you guys start tour, when you start talking with fans, you probably will hear local stories of local legends. Here in Portugal, we have one of a baker. Like it was around 1385, I think, when, you know, Portugal and Spanish were, you know, fighting each other. And this baker, she kind of found out there were like 7 Spaniards hidden, you know, in her wood stove for, you know, preparing for an attack. She found them and she killed the 7 of them and then burned them. That's what the story says, you know. So are you ready to hear, you know, about other legends that might inspire an upcoming Sabaton record?
That was an interesting story. No, I mean, this is how it very often happens. But this album, many of the characters were very naturally coming to our minds, and they were already there. I would say that there are 2 that we were not aware of. One was Lubu, which is a tiger among dragons, and the other one would be Sinister in the Cycle of Stones. Those 2 are the unexpected ones that we wouldn't really have heard about before. But that is also a little bit of charm with Sabaton. We go with some more known and some more less known. But I mean, if you were raised in Egypt, you probably knew about Sinister, but you maybe did not know of Gustav Adolf, which is a natural thing in Sweden that we know about, of course.
Cool. And, you know, with the new album, with the Legends concept, for the live stage, are you guys leaving the camera behind, the trenches? Probably it's going to be a surprise for the fans. For you might not want to reveal too much, but what can you say about the upcoming tour? You know, with the legendary orchestra, all that. What can fans expect from those live shows and from that tour?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, we don't want to reveal too much, but we can say that we are putting the tank in the garage, and we are building something new and something exciting that we want to bring on tour. And for quite some time, I mean, this legendary tour is somewhat different because we are not bringing any heavy metal band with us, and we are doing a tour with a legendary orchestra, and a lot of people are asking what is a legendary orchestra. The quick answer would be that it is like a tribute band to Sabaton. Orchestra with hand-picked musicians, led by fantastic front figures and soloists that will lend their lead vocals, lead instruments, and lead the choir into epic renditions of Sabaton songs. Now it was a little bit long there, but so something like that, and I think it's gonna sound. It's hard to explain the sound. I know how it sounds like, and I love it. It's not going to be for everybody, but so neither is any band, I think. I mean, we took a couple of unexpected special guests with us in the past, and not baby metal was not for everybody, apocalyptica was not for everybody, and but what is for everybody who goes to a Sabaton show, I hope, is Sabaton. So to get a lot of more Sabaton should work for most people. I hope.
Always more Sabaton every night.
Yeah.
You know, as a famous Swedish musician says, you know, more is more. You know, so when they asked him if less is more, he said, no, less is less.
More is more. How can less be more? It's impossible. I agree totally.
So, you know, and if you can say, are you going to give new like stage outfits? Or what's? Can you say if there's?
We don't want to reveal too much, but yeah, we are working on a lot of new details for the upcoming tours. And the upcoming tours, I mean, on our website there is a bunch of dates, but that is sort of just the start of the tour of the Legends album. So there's a lot more coming to there.
Yeah, and hopefully Portugal as well, because you guys are not playing on this first leg of the tour. So, you know, hopefully 2026 will bring you guys back to Portugal. So the idea for the tour, are you guys going to play the full records or just some songs, set list wise?
That's also not to spoil too much,
Okay.
but usually Sabaton plays quite a lot of new songs when we are doing our own tours, and thankfully our fans do really appreciate newer albums and more recent albums, and we don't really need to, let's say, rely so much on the first albums or the older stuff or the classic Sabaton, if you so want to call it, because I think that we have our fans really appreciate all kinds of stuff, but very much new. And I don't think that the new album will be different in this case. I think it's gonna be loved by the fans. I feel so comfortable about it. I mean, we have been discussing it a little bit, the feedback that we have been receiving from the people who have heard it, and we all feel very comfortable now that it's a great album. Fans will not be disappointed.
Yeah. You know, I listened to it, and, you know, don't get me wrong for saying this, but I'm glad you guys left war behind and explored new topics. I think the songs are very, very good. You know, you guys know how to write songs, how to write melodies, how to write great chorus, you know, and this record has all those Sabaton ingredients, but it's a bit different from what, you know, the previous records were. Not too different, but, you know, there's you can sense a new era coming in, and I really enjoy this. You know, I'm not saying that I was tired of the war topic, but when there's a change, I think it's important and it's refreshing, and I think that's what this Legends record is. For the Sabaton, you know, compared to the older other records, it's refreshing. That's the word that I would use for these new records.
Thank you. And yeah, I mean, we are not offended. Of course not. We also felt that we were sort of done definitely with the First World War. Because there is a certain thing, you know, if you go for such a topic, then there is a certain mindset, sound, and lyrical themes and vocabulary that is being used. And there's some things that don't work. If you take from the new album and you take a song like Templars, for example, it doesn't fit there. That's why it simply wouldn't be there. And another song is A Tiger Among Dragons. It will also not fit in World War I setting. But so going here feels very fresh and unbound and something new. So you're right in that sense, and I think we also agree to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Thobbe, on this record, you know, what is your favorite, you know, legend, so to say, that is featured on this record?
Favorite legend? Well, I'm not sure I have a favorite legend. This is But of course, Blood Tepes, Dracula, in popular culture. I really like that song, actually. It's kind of heavy and dark, but I like all the songs. One favorite is Crossing the Rubicon. That's one of the favorites of the album for me.
After you guys played Empire, I'll ask you about your favorite song in a minute, but before I forget this, when you guys, recorded all the songs, did you guys have any idea, or do you guys sensed which ones will automatically work well live?
It's a funny thing, because we have an idea, and we start with that. So we start talking, and we set a little bit of points and score to the songs internally as band members. And when we have like a idea of which songs we think is the best, then we start asking the people that work close to us, like our colleagues in the office and the people who work with us, the crew members on tour and stuff like that. And when we have that, then we add little bit external people that is more fans or these kind of things, and we ask their opinion. And it's kind of different, to be honest. I mean, we experience the album not as fresh and new because we've been working on the songs. So for us, some of these songs could be, we have different impressions. You put on the listener or the fan, they put on the song and it's fresh for them. There's nothing. We have maybe this, oh my god, I hate this song because I struggled so much with learning this part of the song or this. So we might have completely different impressions of the songs that can ruin or save the song for us. So it could be like, oh my god, I remember this when Joakim was singing that and it sounded so cool, and then he switched around these words and it sounded even cooler. And these little things can make a song from okay, it was my number 2, now it's number 1. So but then when we open the circle to more people, we get the fresh inputs. And it's really fun to see what comes then. And we all felt that Tempest would be like the first song we want to get out there. It's like the song that we really felt like, okay, let's let that be the first one. And then we were all in a little bit of like, where do we go from there? And we all have different opinions. But as Thobbe said, I think Crossing the Rubicon for live is a highlight. We have recorded a music video, we all felt like, wow, this is fun.
And some songs, when you sit there during the writing process, you can almost, it's usually the first impressions that you should go by. And I remember when we wrote Tiger Among Dragons, it was like, wow, okay, we're on to something. This is something we could actually do live with a very cool show and all that,
Yeah. And Pär, so, back to the question, do you have any favorite legend on these records?
Oof, I have to side with Thobbe there on that, because there is so much to that story, and thanks to having it's... First of all, it goes back. It's probably my first school project ever. I was supposed to do it about vampires, and I ended up writing about blood, and thought that maybe that was very early before I even understood any meaning of these things, that I would later find the history more interesting than fiction. But the story about him is very interesting, and then, thanks to him being on the album, we actually get dragons into Sabaton, sort of. Not in the sense of there's a fantasy dragon coming and flying, but we can name drop dragons in one of our songs, which is kind of not so typical when Sabaton.
First time ever in Sabaton history, I guess.
And now we have 2 of them.
Yeah.
We're catching up. Next album we get 8 songs about dragons. Who knows?
Yeah. Dragons are trendy.
Yeah, everybody loves a dragon, I think, if they're the good ones anyway. And, again, I don't want to insist for you to reveal too much, but you guys, when it comes to the live show, you guys have been always a bit old school, with a lot of props and, proper stage designs. We see a lot of bands nowadays using, screens in the back and with images, so that with Maiden, like Powerwolf does that now a lot as well, and a lot of other bands. Without revealing too much, again, will you going to mix things up, or are you going to stay more in the old school kind of vibe?
So that's very old school in that. So we have been, as you said, and we have, without revealing too much, we did a lot of stuff. So yeah, it's a huge amount of drugs. I understand why people do it with video screens, because it's a lot cheaper. But the real is real. More is more.
More is more.
And just want to wrap it up, this new era, new label, how do you guys feel? You guys feel the pressure with signing with a new label and to deliver a record? You have that pressure on the side, or it was just one of those factors of, it's exciting to challenge ourselves again? How was that feeling for you?
The procedure is very lengthy. To say, first of all, we thought that it was time for us to see what's out there, to check something that we are, because we've been working with Nuclear Blast since 2010, so we wanted to have a feeling what's out there. If we work with somebody else, what kind of new ideas, new people, what kind of things will happen to the band. So we decided that we will start looking and start negotiating. And for like the last 1.5 years, or a little bit more now, 2 years, we have been negotiating with a lot of various record labels, and it's been a very, very interesting and insightful process, and also a little bit tougher sometimes, because it means also to stay up all night talking to the various departments, because we wanted to ensure that whoever works with Sabaton has excited people who really want to work with Sabaton in every continent. So that means that I had to sit there in the night and talk to some record label from Asia, and then a couple of hours later I talked to some record labels representatives in the United States or Latin America, and then Europe and this. So it's been a lengthy but very insightful and very important process, because we didn't take it lightly to change the record label after so many years. But in the end, it was a decision that was quite quick, because Botas came to us. They were one of the first to approach us, and they were the ones we finally settled for. And it's I think it's very, very interesting to work with new people, to have new input into Sabaton, and let's see where it will take us from here. But I am hopeful and positive for the future of the band.
Yeah. Because I was talking to another band that changed labels, and one of the things they said was they've been in that label for too long. So the procedures were always the same. They knew exactly, what was going to happen, and they needed just a fresh start. And I guess after so many years doing the same thing, you might need to challenge yourself. I think just like relationships, in a way, it gets old after a while.
Yep. Quickly. I mean, in the same way as not all changes off for the good.
Yeah.
So but it was very important to take the time to investigate and properly check this. And we've done that now. We made a decision, and we will stick to that.
Yeah.
Now.
Very good. So, you guys already have the plans for 2025 all locked up with the Legendary Tour. 2026, more touring, festivals, that's the plan?
Yeah, the Legends Tour is just about to start. So it's going to take us to a lot of places before we go into the studio and make another album. We haven't even thought about that yet, and we won't be thinking about that for quite some time. We first have a lot of people out there who we want to play our new songs to.
Thobbe, you were excited for the next year or more of touring?
Oh yes, oh yes. I mean, I know a bit what it's, what's gonna happen and all that. When it comes to the surprises, also, I'm so eager to get out there.
Very good. All right, guys, thank you very much for your time. All the best for Legends. Hopefully next year you guys are stopping by in Portugal. You have to. I had some, I talked with some people and they were saying that they're, when people asking what band you like to see in a festival, your name pops up quite a lot, for that. So, fingers crossed. Yeah, it's the last time you guys played at the festival, in the stadium, and you brought the whole show. I almost died because of the freaking pyro, those explosions. They scared the shit out of me. I remember being in the pit and I just jumped, and there was a girl next to me taking photos as well, and she jumped as well. And they were like, what's happening? All those bombs and stuff was amazing.
And you know how we feel on stage, if you forget about, the bangs and whatnot.
Was there any time that, there was an unexpected bang and you were like a bit rattled? Did that ever happen?
Sure, happened a few times, I guess. Sometimes you have so much adrenaline going out there and you forget about those. And all of a sudden, bang,
It's it's not everywhere we have them also, because sometimes they are forbidden to use in some arenas and venues and festivals and stuff like that. So it could be that sometimes we are not using them, and then you get used to, there's nothing, no worries. Yeah. And then you have this bomb. And they are also not the same loud every day, because it depends on local regulations.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes we get a little surprised by them when we forget about them. They're of course not dangerous. We have a good team of pyrotechnicians to make sure that no dangers are happening. But we can also jump a little bit sometimes by mistake.
All right, Pär, Thobbe, thank you very much for your time. All the best for Sabaton Legends, a great record. As I said, it's very refreshing to see this new approach, lyrically and sonically as well. And, I'm excited for the future of Sabaton, and hopefully we'll see you guys back here in Portugal in 2026. Otherwise, I will stalk you guys somewhere in Europe. All right?
All right. Hope to meet you in Portugal then.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a great day, and see you soon. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.